You know that feeling, right? That little bit of panic when you can't remember another password for some random online account.
Oh, definitely. Or worse, that nagging worry about where all your personal info is actually stored.
Exactly. It feels like it's scattered across, I don't know, a million different databases, just waiting for the next huge data breach. We've seen it happen, Yahoo, Marriott,
Yeah.
billions of accounts affected.
Billions, yeah. It's not just inconvenient, well, it feels fundamentally risky.
And yeah, those sign in with Google or Facebook buttons seemed like a neat shortcut for a while.
Hmm.
But now it feels like we just handed even more of our digital lives over to a few massive companies. And you have to wonder about the tracking and privacy side of things.
Absolutely. Our whole online existence is sort of built on this shaky foundation of centralized identity.
Right.
All the sources we looked at really hammer this point home.
Right.
Putting so much valuable personal data, names, addresses, financial details in one place, whether it's with governments, banks, or social media giants, well, it basically paints a giant target on that data.
Like putting all your gold in one single vault.
Precisely. If someone breaks into that vault, the damage is massive. Plus, as individuals, we have almost zero real control over how our own information gets used or shared.
Which is exactly the problem we want to unpack in this deep dive. Blockchain-based digital identity.
Hmm.
We've gone through some really fascinating stuff, academic papers digging into the nitty-gritty tech, practical guides showing how it could actually work, even a study looking at how it might tackle identity theft.
Yeah, a good mix of theory and potential practice.
So our mission today is pretty clear. Can this technology, people call it self-sovereign identity, or SSI, sometimes decentralized identity, can it really give you back control over your digital self, make things more secure, more private, maybe even more efficient?
Let's try and cut through the buzzwords and see what the actual evidence tells us.
Okay, let's do it. So this core idea, blockchain-based identity, what's the fundamental shift here?
Okay, so the absolute core concept is flipping the model. Instead of needing, say, Google or your bank to prove who you are online all the time,
Right.
the goal is to put you in charge, give you the ownership and the control over your own digital identity.
Self-sovereign identity, decentralized identity, basically different names for that same user-centric idea.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
got it. It's about putting you, the individual, back in the driver's seat.
Okay, I like the sound of that. But how does it actually work? Are we talking about putting my driver's license details onto some global blockchain for everyone to see? That sounds not great.
No, not quite like that. That's a common misconception.
Mhm.
Think of it more like a system built on three key pillars, three main components working together.
All right, pillar number one.
Pillar one is the blockchain itself. But, and this is really crucial, the blockchain here isn't typically for storing your actual sensitive data, like your name or date of birth.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah. Instead, it acts as a super secure, transparent, and unchangeable public record, a ledger. Its main job is to verify the authenticity of digital credentials.
So it confirms that a credential is real and hasn't been messed with.
Precisely. It becomes the single source of truth for checking if a digital ID card or diploma or whatever is valid. It uses cryptographic signatures, think of them like digital tamper-proof seals, to guarantee that integrity.
Okay.
And that's a massive difference from today's systems, where hacking one central database can expose millions of people's raw, sensitive info. With this SSI approach, your core identity stuff stays mainly with you, usually in a secure digital wallet on your phone or computer.
Got it. So the blockchain is like the ultra-secure notary just verifying the documents, not holding them. Makes sense. What's pillar two?
Pillar two is Decentralized Identifiers, or DIDs. Think of these as unique digital addresses that you create and you control. They aren't tied to any company or government.
Unlike my email address, which is tied to Google or Microsoft or whoever.
Exactly. A DD is just a string of characters that's uniquely yours online. And importantly, each DID comes with a pair of cryptographic keys. There's a public key, like your public mailbox address, you can share it, and a private key you keep totally secret.
Like the key to my mailbox.
Perfect analogy. That private key lets you prove you own the DID and lets you sign things digitally, communicate securely. And here's a really cool part. You can create multiple DIDs
Oh, why would I do that?
for privacy. You could have one DID for, say, online shopping, another totally separate one for professional stuff like LinkedIn, maybe another for crypto transactions. It makes it much, much harder for anyone to connect the dots and build a complete profile of your online activity.
Ah, I see. Like having different masks for different online contexts, each with its own secure key. Clever. There are standards for these, right? Like the DocDID format you mentioned?
Yeah, formats like the DocDID provide a standardized structure so these identifiers can be recognized and used across different systems. Okay, ready for Pillar 3?
Lay it on me.
Pillar 3 is Verifiable Credentials, or VCs. These are basically the digital, super secure versions of the physical documents we carry around now.
Like my driver's license, my degree certificate.
Exactly. Your license, diplomas, work certifications, membership cards, you name it. Trusted organizations, governments, universities, employers act as issuers. They create these digital VCs for you.
And I, the holder, keep them in my digital wallet.
You got it. You hold them in your secure digital wallet. Then, when you need to prove something, say, prove you're over 21 to buy something online, you present the relevant VC to the verifier, which could be the website.
And they can check it instantly, without calling the DMV or my old university.
Right, because the VC is cryptographically signed by the issuer, and its validity can often be checked against information anchored on the blockchain. The verifier can trust it's authentic and hasn't been tampered with instantly.
Wow. Okay. And you mentioned W3C standards for these too, like for passports.
Yep. The World Wide Web Consortium, the W3C, has been working hard on global standards for both DIDs and VCs. This is crucial for interoperability, making sure a VC issued in one country or by one organization can be understood and accepted elsewhere, just like international passport standards.
Okay, let me try and stitch this together. I have this digital wallet app. Inside are my VCs, maybe a digital driver's license from the state, a digital diploma from my uni, both digitally signed. If a website needs proof I'm over 18, I use my DID, maybe my general verification D2 to show them just the over 18 part of my license VC.
You could potentially do that, yeah. Selective disclosure.
And the website trusts it because the blockchain points to the state as the issuer, and the signature proves it's legit and unchanged.
That's the core idea.
That sounds, well, way better than uploading a blurry photo of my license.
Yeah.
And much more private.
Yep.
What are the big advantages people point to?
The benefits really stack up, hitting a lot of the weak spots in the current system. First off, security. Using blockchain's tamper-proof nature and strong crypto makes it much harder to breach than traditional databases.
Right, no single honeypot of data.
Exactly. Then there's privacy. This is huge. You control what gets shared, with who and when. You can do that selective disclosure you mentioned, prove you're over 18 without showing your birth date or address.
That's powerful.
There are even more advanced things, like zero-knowledge proofs, which let you prove something is true, like your income is above a certain level, without revealing the actual income figure itself.
Whoa, okay. That's pretty futuristic, but I see the potential. What else?
Interoperability is another big one. If everyone uses compatible standards, sharing verified info across different services, companies, even borders becomes much smoother. Think about how much faster things like signing up for a new bank account or crossing a border could be.
Yeah, less filling out the same forms over and over again.
Definitely. Which leads to efficiency. Cutting out intermediaries needed for verification saves time, saves money. It also builds trust because the whole process is more transparent and reliable. And fundamentally, it's about user control. You own your identity data. You can update it, share it, even revoke access.
And it's portable, right? My identity lives in my wallet. It goes where I go.
Exactly. Portability. And because the credentials are cryptographically signed, it significantly reduces fraud. It's much harder to fake a verifiable credential than a physical ID card or a PDF.
Okay, this all sounds incredibly promising. Almost too good to be true. What are the catches, the dangers, the challenges we need to think about?
Ah, yes, the reality check.
Mm-hmm.
And there are definitely significant hurdles and potential risks. Cybersecurity is still paramount.
Even with blockchain.
Well, the blockchain itself might be secure, but what about the wallet software on your phone? What if there's a flaw in the specific cryptography used? The surrounding ecosystem needs to be rock solid, too.
Okay, good point.
Then there are potential privacy threats, paradoxically. If it's a public blockchain, even if your name isn't there, the DIDs and transaction patterns might be visible. Could sophisticated analysis link those patterns back to you? It's a concern that needs careful design to mitigate.
So privacy needs to be baked in, not just assumed.
Absolutely. Interoperability, while a goal, is also a challenge. Getting different systems built by different companies, maybe using different underlying blockchains or standards, all talking to each other seamlessly. That's a big coordination effort. Different laws in different places add another layer of complexity.
And just getting people, us, to actually use this stuff seems like a big ask.
It's a huge one. Adoption. People are used to passwords, even if they hate them. Getting folks comfortable with digital wallets, DIDs, VCs, It requires education, trust, and critically, a super simple, intuitive user experience. If it's clunky, people won't switch.
Yeah, usability is key.
And there's key storage, that private key we talked about, the one that controls your DID. You cannot lose it.
Right, like losing the only key to your house, but worse.
Kinda, yeah. So how do you back it up securely? What are the recovery options if you lose your phone or forget a password? These are critical usability and security problems that need really good solutions. If recovery is too hard, people won't use it. If it's too easy, it's insecure.
Tricky balance.
Very. And while decentralization aims to avoid single points of failure at the system level, your wallet becomes a very attractive target for an attacker. If your wallet is compromised, that's potentially your whole identity suite at risk.
What else?
On public blockchains, there's the anonymity question. It's more pseudonymity, really. Your DD isn't your real name, but linking activity might be possible. Storage on the blockchain could eventually become an issue if we're anchoring huge amounts of verification data. For permission blockchains, the private ones run by a consortium, you have to ask, who controls who gets to validate things? How decentralized is it really if it depends on an initial club of members?
Right, governance matters there.
Definitely. And lastly, just user behavior. If the process feels too complicated, people might fall back on insecure habits, or businesses might still try to ask for way more data than they need, even if the tech allows for minimalism. The ask for everything just in case mentality needs to change too.
Wow, okay, that's a comprehensive list of things to watch out for. It's not just flicking a switch.
Not at all. It's a major shift with lots of interconnected pieces that need to work right.
You mentioned a study earlier, the one from the University of Texas, looking specifically at identity theft. What were the key takeaways there?
Yeah, that was really interesting. They did a longitudinal study looking back at something like 6,000 identity theft cases over 20 years.
Wow.
And they modeled what might have happened if blockchain-based identity management systems competed. They looked at platforms like Civic, Showcard, Authentic had been widely used.
And the verdict?
The core finding was pretty positive. They concluded that this approach, by fundamentally protecting your personally identifiable information, your PII, right at the source, and giving you control over sharing, it has really significant potential to cut down on identity theft and fraud, both how often it happens and how much damage it does.
Because the criminals just can't get their hands on the raw data as easily.
That's the idea. The study really highlighted the impact of protecting specific data points. For example, they figured that just properly securing social security numbers using this kind of system might have prevented about 10% of the incidents they studied.
10% is huge.
It is, especially since those SSN-related cases often involve the biggest financial losses for victims. They also pointed to things like financial info, credit card numbers, bank accounts, and tax info as other critical pieces that would really benefit from being managed this way.
So the potential to fight identity theft seems quite real based on their analysis.
It does seem like a very promising application, yes. Not a silver bullet for all crime, obviously, but a potentially powerful tool against this specific, very damaging type.
Okay, so where are we now with all this? Are there actual companies and systems doing this today? What does the landscape look like?
Yeah, it's definitely moving beyond just theory. We're seeing real solutions emerge. That paper, Decentralized Identity Systems, gave a rundown of some early players like Uport, Sovereign, Showcard, Civic, Selfkey, LifeID, Evers, a whole bunch of them, even more conceptual ones like BitNation.
And are they all doing it the same way?
No, there's quite a bit of variation in their approaches and, frankly, their limitations. The paper noted things like Uport, initially relying quite a bit on trusted third parties, which some argue isn't fully decentralized. Sovereign uses a network of approved agencies to do identity checks. Showcard, in earlier versions at least, used a central server for managing some certificate aspects.
So it sounds like that pure vision of total decentralization is still evolving, being negotiated.
That's a good way to put it. It's evolving. But what's really encouraging is the work being done by standards bodies and industry groups. You've got the W3C setting those crucial technical standards for DIDs and VCs.
Right.
You have the Decentralized Identity Foundation, DIF, really focused on the engineering challenges and making things work together. And the Trust Over IP Foundation is another key player working on governance frameworks.
So people are collaborating to build the foundations.
Yes, and that's essential. Getting this right really needs everyone, regulators, tech companies, industry players working together. They need to hammer out the interoperability issues, make sure privacy and security are truly baked in, and align on the rules of the road.
And, as you said, making it easy for regular people to use.
Absolutely critical. User education and, more importantly, a fantastic user experience are non-negotiable if this is going to take off widely.
Okay, let's try and pull this all together then. We started with the headaches of today's online identity, the passwords, the breaches, the lack of control.
The vulnerabilities of
And
centralization.
we dove into this alternative vision, blockchain-based identity, or SSI, using blockchain mainly for verification, not raw data storage,
Right, combined with user-controlled deed IDs for ownership.
and verifiable credentials for sharing proof securely, giving you more control, better security, better privacy. That's the promise.
That's the promise, yeah. Addressing a lot of the current system's flaws.
But we also spent a good chunk of time on the but. The challenges are real. Cybersecurity risks beyond the blockchain itself, ensuring true interoperability, the massive hurdle of getting people to adopt it, and that critical issue of managing your private keys securely.
Can't forget those. And the ongoing privacy considerations, governance questions for permission systems. It's complex.
And yet, that study on identity theft suggests there's real substance here, a potential to significantly reduce a major problem by protecting our core information better.
It certainly points in that direction.
Yeah.
It shows a tangible benefit that could resonate with a lot of people.
So it feels like we're looking at a really compelling vision for the future of digital identity. More secure, definitely more private, much more user-focused than what we have now.
I think that's fair to say. The potential is clearly there to fix many of the fundamental problems we face online today.
But it's also crystal clear this isn't happening overnight. It's a journey, a technology, and a whole new way of thinking that's still very much under construction.
Exactly. Still evolving.
So, maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. As more and more of our lives go digital, how are you planning to take back control of your identity? What role do you think these decentralized technologies, like SSI, will play or should play in that future for you?
Yes, really interesting balancing act, isn't it? Weighing those huge potential upsides against the very real risks and challenges that still need solid answers.
Definitely something to mull over.
Indeed. And hey, if you want to dig even deeper after this, we definitely recommend checking out the work of the organizations we mentioned, the W3C, the Decentralized Identity Foundation, DIF, the Trust Over IP Foundation. Look at companies like Doc Labs who are actively building in this space, and keep an eye on research coming out of places like the University of Texas Center for Identity.
Lots to explore if you're curious.
For sure, there's a ton happening as this whole field continues to develop.